Welcome to the video, guys. We got a few new updates on the situation going on daily down in Kent that ends up with new Labour voters being housed in 4-star hotels at our expense, along with something we can do to force action on this, or at least apply pressure to do something about it, since I would not bet on the government doing anything until they find their meat and two veg and stop being the lily-livered cowards we have seen them be on a daily basis for the last 6 months or so. Of course, that is a big ask, so don't bank on it happening. But we have some more news about token flights out of the UK coming up, which likely won't even remove half the amount who arrive on the day of them flights. So like I said, a token gesture worth next to nothing, which is all we are likely to get. It needs to be all of them, and as soon as they arrive or are picked up in the channel, but obviously that goes without saying. Now, we also have reports that these boat wankers are being put in detention centres instead of hotels now, which is good, I guess. But like I said, they should just be sent packing instantly, as we know they are not legitimate refugees. Let's be honest here, if these criminals are refugees, then I am the Virgin Mary, it's that stupid. And to top it off, we also have reports of something we said was always going to happen. And when it did, the open borders tosspots would use it as a way to force the weak government into helping these boat wankers travel across the channel more than they already are. That is, of course, the reports out today that one of the illegal immigrants has drowned crossing the channel and was found on a French beach. So unfortunately for the mass immigration supporting scumbags, it won't be a very good party political attack line against the government as it would have been had they washed up on a UK beach. Of course, they will still try, but that is France's problem, not ours. End of story. Now, before we briefly look at them articles, we have this petition going here on the government's website, which could do with some more support. Of course, we all know the government ignored the one about the grooming gang report and will now fob us off with a heavily redacted paper that won't be worth a wet wank on a Sunday morning, let me tell you. But even with that being said, any pressure is good, and maybe media outlets will pick up on it more than they picked up on the grooming gang report petition, since broadcast media are actually talking about this issue, unlike the grooming gang situation, which is just as important in my opinion. But naturally, this new petition is asking the government to actually do something about the national embarrassment and not just talk about it, which is what we have all seen them do. As you can see, the petition says, take action to stop illegal immigration and rapidly remove illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants are entering the UK in many different ways, including small boats from France, which are not stopped by either French or British forces. The government should take action to reduce illegal immigration into the UK and enable the rapid removal of immigrants found to be here illegally. And as you can see, 90,000 people have already signed up to it, so it's almost at the 100,000 target where the government will actually consider it for a debate. So if you have not signed it already, then make sure you do so. Let's get it over 100,000 and see if they ignore this one like they did the grooming gang report. Now, like I said, we have these token flights here which are being reported in the Independent. More asylum seekers set to be deported on charter flights despite concerns over safety and legality. Campaigners say decision to pursue removals amount to an affront to public health and calls on Home Secretary to urgently review plans to deport people under Dublin regulation, which is rather fucking laughable when you consider them coming here during the situation that's supposed to be going on now would be considered an affront to public health if these weren't such mass immigration loving fuckpigs. But like I said, while we might get happy about seeing this, it is literally 2 charter flights, probably with about 14 people on each, much like the last one. So not even close to half of the amount that will come in on any given day. Shit, it's not even half the amount of people that will be in one boat, let's be honest. The Home Office is pressing ahead with the deportation of asylum seekers who have recently arrived to the UK in small boats, despite mounting concerns about the safety and legitimacy of carrying out removals at a time when bat flu rates across Europe are rising, which, if you ask me, is actually more reason to send them straight back. But this is the Independent we are talking about here, and the Ramoning fuckpigs that we all know they get on to talk about this crap. 2 charter flights are set to remove asylum seekers to 3 EU countries next week under the Dublin regulation, a law that requires asylum seekers to claim asylum in the first safe country they arrive in, which obviously wasn't the UK, so none of them are asylum seekers. They're all economic migrants, boot them straight out, end of story. Among the receiving countries that no one gives a fuck, that's not really important to us at the moment. They deserve to be there, they shouldn't be here, end of story. And to be honest with you, the rest of the article is just a load of old bollocks. Like I said, this is just a token gesture, so there really is no point in reading through any more of it, because we have here, reported yesterday, apparently Yarlswood Detention Centre will no longer be used strictly for women. Instead, it is being repurposed for the Channel migrants, I guess because they don't want to send them into more hotels, making the Home Office and Priti Patel look like a couple of idiots. Sources suggest the last few female detainees left the site near Milton Ernest, Bedfordshire, last week. In May, the population of Yarl's Wood and other RICs was reduced dramatically as a result of the bat flu pandemic. Now, the centre will be used to house dozens of Channel migrants to check their health and immigration status. It is for a lack of capacity. Aindow is also behind the move. No, it's not a lack of capacity, it's the simple fact that thousands of people are flooding over every day and the Border Force are helping them do it. A spokesman for the Home Office said, owing to action as a result of the bat flu pandemic, the number of women in detention in the UK is low. Yes, because we know it's not women who are coming across. Look at all these pregnant women you see sitting there on that boat. We are currently housing this small group in immigration detention accommodation with facilities for women other than Yarl's Wood. The former Shadow Home Secretary Diane Abbott said Yarl's Wood had been jinxed from the start after a major fire in 2002. She said when she visited the centre last year, she found many women were being held without good reason. No, they are all, at the end of the day, illegal immigrants, so that is the reason why they are there. They don't have a right to be in the UK. That is a good reason to have them held there and removed. But of course, Diane Abbott continued, had I become Home Secretary, I would have definitely closed the place, she added. Well, yeah, of course she would have closed the place. She would have closed them all, opened the borders and just said everyone is welcome here, and it would have been a complete clusterfuck. Much worse than it is now. And now obviously, like I said, we had this here from earlier today. That is something we said was always going to happen and would be used as a party political point scoring exercise against the government, because we know with these left-wing shitweasels, if you can politicise a death, then they have to do it. We see it over the last couple of months. Body of drowned refugee 16 washes up on beach after trying to get to the UK. Someone they claim who is a 16-year-old boy disappeared at sea, but his body has been found on a beach near Calais, a French minister has confirmed. The alleged teenager, who was a refugee from Sudan, fell overboard on Tuesday night while making the dangerous journey in a rubber dinghy to seek safety in the UK. The boy and his friend were reportedly crossing the channel in a 1-metre dinghy using shovel as oars when they got into difficulty, said Boulogne's Deputy Prosecutor Philippe Sabater, reported France Bleu. The boy's friend, who is also supposed to be a child, was found alive on the beach but in a state of shock according to reports. He was not injured and was taken to a hospital in Calais, which makes me wonder, if he wasn't injured, why was he taken to the hospital? Surely he should have been taken to some police station or something, as he had just broke the law and tried to cross borders illegally. But obviously France, like the UK, are a bunch of weak cucks that don't do fucking things like that, as they should do. If they did, we wouldn't have this problem we find ourselves with now. He added that the unbearable news highlights the urgent need to crack down on smugglers who take advantage of the distress of human beings. And yes, they do need to crack down on the smugglers, but they also need to crack down on the governments allowing it to happen, like ours and France in this case. Stop the Border Force picking them up, stop France escorting them over here, and arrest them as soon as you see them, send them straight back to wherever they came from or the first EU country that they entered. It's not exactly difficult. Priti Patel talks a load of shit there. Of course it's tragic and upsetting for her, she has to fucking say that. The horrendous incident serves as a brutal reminder of the abhorrent criminal gangs and people smugglers who exploit vulnerable people. Working together, we are determined to stop them by talking a load of shit and doing absolutely fuck all about it. At the end of the day, this person's death is on them for risking the trip, on the government for allowing it to happen and not being tougher, stopping them from actually doing it, and of course the French government more so, because this is their waters at the end of the day, so the buck stops with them. In my opinion, France is allowing these people to do this, so it's their responsibility. We shouldn't even be hearing about it here, but of course we are. The media needs to push it, and especially the left-wing shitweasels at the Metro. Number 10 has come under pressure to control the situation following criticism from Labour and human rights campaigners saying its handling lacks competence and compassion. Never mind Labour and human rights campaigners, they want to be more worried about the voters who actually voted for them last time, and they will need to vote for them again because they are not doing a very good job of it at the moment, that is for sure. And here we have reported here before I end this video, this morning in Dover, children were among more than 50 refugees who arrived by boat. They were taken into the Kent port aboard a lifeboat and a Border Force vessel, or a lifeboat and a Border Force taxi, as we already know. So, like I said earlier, the deportation flights likely won't even remove the amount of people that have come in today just being reported here now. I bet there's no more than 30 people on those deportation flights, and that is the higher end of an estimate, let me tell you. So as we can see, the embarrassment that continues down on the south coast shows no sign of stopping, and the government are still all talk and absolutely no action, except except for, of course, the token ones we see with their repatriation flights of probably less than 30 people. Priti Patel and Boris Johnson, you really need to pull your finger out of your arse. You're starting to piss the country off.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires, and that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.